of love, and thank you for joining us on yet another excursion through the stream of consciousness down the river of tranquility to fill the lake of life with love.
And good evening, everybody. Thank you for joining us again on this journey through some love. And it's Saturday night, so that means we have questions from, what did we call it last week? The lovosphere, I think is how I described
The
it.
lovosphere, yes.
The lovosphere, whatever that actually happens to mean.
It's the internet.
It's just the world of love, right? Anything that, in some way how love interacts with our lives. And it's strange how leadership can often interact with our lives, and how much, as we raise our kids and manage our families, how much we forget that, leadership is important there as much as it is, as important as it is, I can speak, everywhere else in our lives. It's and it's a hard thing. If it was easy, anybody could do it. There's a reason that not everybody wants to do it. Just like being a parent, not everybody wants to be a parent. Everybody can be a parent, but not everybody wants to be. Some people probably shouldn't be, or at least until they've rediscovered themselves, or got a hair or something in my eye.
Oh, great.
Yeah, this is going to be great. So as we work through that, so what's our first question? We're just going to jump into questions because now I'm distracted.
Okay, is it unfair to exclude adult stepchildren from my will? If my husband and I were to go at the same time, I would like half of my assets to go to our adult biological children only. If he goes first, the assets will come to me. Now, this sounds like a twofold question. You can do a lot of things in your will. You really need to go see a lawyer. But you can exclude people. Of course you can. Is it unfair? Yeah, maybe. Is it? Is it not? I don't know. I think so.
Well, fairness is in the eyes of the beholder. Were the adult children when you guys when they got married, or when the young children, did they help? Were they part of the raising? It's not necessarily an easy question, but why do you think if you pass first, half your assets should go to just your children, but if your husband passes first, all his assets should come to you and not half of him should go to his children? It seems if you want to play it, that's fine. However, relationships can be.
I've heard it happening before.
And fairness is fairness is for children, quite frankly. It is. Fairness is in the eye of the beholder. So what's fair is what you decide is fair. But, if you're asking the question, something's wrong. There's something about it. And maybe it's not half of your assets going to your children, only your biological children. That's perfectly fine. That's actually understandable, especially if everybody was adults when the marriage took place. Well-established assets. But there's also comes a point when you melded families. And exactly how that works out in wills is always complicated. But don't let money get in the way of love. You're focused on assets and money and fairness and focus on love. What do you really want to be your legacy? Do you want your children and stepchildren and husband to be having to fight and deal with some complicated mess you're leaving? Because why? Just think about the why. I think something's wrong with how you're how you're approaching this, and that's why you asked the question. And something's telling you something's not right. And it may not be that you want half of your assets to go just to your family and the other half just to go to your husband. Maybe it's that you have an unbalanced expectation of what happens if your husband dies first. The other thing is just things. It depends how close the family is, and blah, 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 blah. But that first one, there seems to be a little wrong there. You want it different for you than for him.
That's true. I hadn't really noticed that.
So if I were to take a guess at what the problems is it would be there. Look at your own ethics, ask your own wives. Okay.
My 13-year-old daughter has been invited abroad by her best friend's family, but we don't really know them. My daughter is very upset. My husband and I are not comfortable. Are we wrong?
Well, I'm not necessarily sure there's a right or wrong, but what you do have, you should probably give your daughter an honest airing. Go sit down, have a conversation with the family, have a conversation, give it an honest, doesn't necessarily mean you're going to end up saying yes, but make sure you actually gave through and give it an honest, because it's a chance of a lifetime. That's why she's upset. She may never have this opportunity again, and she knows it. So she has every right to be upset, especially if you didn't give it an honest airing. If you give it an honest airing, kind of you take everything in, you go talk to the family, you have conversations amongst yourselves and everybody, and you deal with that, and you say, I'm still just not comfortable with it. She'll still be upset, but she'll at least still feel heard. But if she's not feeling heard, she has a point. It's perfectly fine to come to the decision, I'm just not comfortable. That's perfectly fine. But if you came to that decision without giving honest thought, giving it an honest consideration, due consideration, then you're doing everybody a disservice, because it is a chance of a lifetime.
That's true. But if they're not comfortable.
Have you tried to get comfortable? Have you addressed your issues? Or are you just saying, I'm not comfortable, so no? It's a chance of a lifetime. It's not nothing. Is it a risk? Sure. But there's an equal sizable reward. And that's actually more likely to happen. So I'm not saying yes or no. I'm saying make sure you did an honest airing. Make sure you opened your mind and actually went through and worked through it all before you slam the door shut. No. Make sure yes is a possibility. Go through everything and then say no if no is the answer. But you may end up comfortable with it after you go through the process. There's a reason you go through that process. Okay.
I make dinner every night. My family loves my cooking, but my 14-year-old stepson won't eat and lets the food sit all night, going to waste, and makes himself frozen food. Should I stop making him a plate and stop throwing money away?
Well, melding a step family is difficult. And so the question is, where do you want to fight your battles? Is this really what is it what he's eating? If he's sitting at dinner, then and he not going to eat. There's a few things. One, not everybody experiences food the same way. So just because everybody else likes food doesn't mean somebody else will. Two, him liking your food, so therefore eating your food may feel like a betrayal of his mother. Doesn't understand it that way, but psychologically that's what's happening. Could be, not is. And you can go way down the laundry list of a lot of things. So don't fight it. Make enough for everybody else and give him his frozen food at dinner time. It's frozen food. How much does it take? You stick it in the microwave for a few minutes. Show him a little respect. He'll eventually start showing you yours. Don't create the fight. You've got the instinct not to create the fight. And so I applaud you. But there's a second side to that. Okay. Here's your dinner. What do you want today? Which frozen food do you want to eat today? Don't make a big deal of it. Because in that sense, what's important, not what he's eating, that he's eating with the family. Make it as easy as for him to eat with that family as possible. Don't make any judgments. Just let him join on his terms. It'll turn around. Might take some time, but it'll turn around. Okay, what do you got?
Okay, my 13-year-old sister is getting married to one of her 12-year-old friends. They already have the rings delivered. We cannot let anyone know about this as my parents and the bride's parents are homophobic. What should they do on their special day?
They're 12 and 13. They're not actually getting married. It's their little bit of rebellion, and maybe they have every reason to. So let them do it. But what should they do? I mean, they're 12 and 13. What can they do? Whatever they like, right? Do you want to go roller skating? Go roller skating. Do you want to go, I don't know, whatever kids do? I don't have the slightest clue what 13-year-olds do anymore, right? I don't know. I don't have kids that age, and things switch so fast. I have no flipping clue. But whatever kids that age do, help them do that. Whatever their favorite activity is, let them do that. Try not to make a big deal out of it, because if you make too big of a deal out of it, you'll end up, getting your parents. But we often these days are too quick to put labels on things. And putting that label on your parents may or may not be fair.
Very true.
Not being as supportive as you think they should be doesn't necessarily mean they won't eventually be supportive if you give them the opportunity. If it was hard for you to get to the point to be accepting of who you are, the other person might take some time as well. And so, compassion works both ways. Tolerance works both ways. But they're having some fun at 12 and 13. Let them have some fun at 12 and 13. That's my thing, Let them
I remember my first boyfriend, puppy love. It was just tragic when we broke up.
So, they're not really getting married. Of course, the more serious we allow them to take it at that age, the more trauma they're going to give when reality sets in. But, hey, it's entirely possible. There's couples who get together at that age and never separate. So I'm not going to say it's not, I'm not going to be don't be Debbie Downer, Hey, it's once in a century. So maybe they're the one.
Could be, you never know.
You never know. You might be sitting here 80 years from now how you guys have had it, 12 or 13, 90 years old on the local news or whatever, bringing out their first rings they got it delivered from Amazon or something. So, you never know. Allow these things to take their natural course. Well, one way or the other, they'll work themselves out. They're 12 and 13. They're practicing at life. Let them practice.
My mom tries to live her life through me. They have a tracker on me, and I've moved out for 3 years. All hell breaks loose when I delete it. What should I do?
Delete it and accept the hell?
They'll get over it.
That hell will last less than the hell you're going through now.
At least there'll be an end to it.
It's they're overly controlling. We actually get these kind of things quite often, where you've got these parents who used to be these helicopter parents can't let go, and their kids suffer for it. You've got to let go. At some point, you've got to trust in the job you've done. And so what can you do about it? Well, you can make your boundaries. So I love you, Mom. I really do. I love everything you've done for me. I appreciate everything you've done for me in my life. But I'm 22, 21, whatever it is, mid-20s. I've been out the house. There's no need for a tracker. I appreciate that you're concerned about things that might happen to me. That's great, but I don't need it. Thank you. And delete it, and she'll be upset for a while. That's fine, but she's your mother. She'll also get over it. You need to set these boundaries. It's good for you. It's good for her. She's got to let you go so she can move on with her life as well. So, in a sense, you're doing her a favor. Just don't ever say that to her.
Well, no.
All right.
I have an 11-year-old daughter who constantly getting caught watching inappropriate things online. This began 3 years ago. I put parental controls on her devices and she will still find a way. What can I do because I'm lost?
Nothing. And when we're talking about inappropriate content at 8 and 11, between that age, it's difficult. Are they watching slasher movies or are they watching adult content? They didn't say adult content. They said inappropriate. So maybe they're watching, The Simpsons when they're too young for The Simpsons, that kind of thing. But if she's already able to get around your basic parental controls, there's not a damn thing you can do. All you're going to do is make her better at it. That's all you're going to do. So, which has its own rewards, by the way. So it may not necessarily be a bad idea to not do that, to continue to do that, to continue to up your parental control games and force her to up her computer programming skills, because that's what she's doing. She's learning to be a hacker, and those are good skills generically to have in life. So there is a caveat to all this. You may actually want to continue upping your parental control games, not because you're expecting to stop her, but you're keeping her interested in learning how to get around them. That's good skills. It's a good skill set. At 11, she can already do it. Sorry, that's impressive. She's been doing it for 3 years, since 8 years old. That's impressive. I would encourage it, and you encourage it by setting higher and tougher barriers for her. But you're doing it deliberately instead of, because you're not going to be able to control what she's seeing. So what you do is you control how she approaches it. You make sure she understands it in context. I never controlled what my kids did on the internet. I never controlled what they watched on TV, but I always made sure they understood that those are scripted. That's not reality. Maybe you can take some lessons from those things and apply it to reality, but that's not reality. Things like, my boys were into wrestling like boys do. That's not real. That's a stunt show. It's a stunt show mixed with TV drama. That's what it is. It's fun. It's fun, and it's quite dangerous and physical, and that's why boys like it. But it's not real. And so they always kind of understood that. And anytime they get carried away, you always make sure you poke your head in and say, hey, you guys are getting carried away. It wasn't because I didn't expect them to not get carried away. It was to make sure that they kept getting reminded that this isn't real. This is just fiction. You can't just tell them once. You have to continue to remind them in subtle ways. I knew they weren't going to calm down. They're freaking boys. But it was breaking the mindset. Hey, oh yeah, that's right. Snap them back into reality for a few minutes. That way it's a constant reminder. Hey, that's not real. And so that's what you have to actually do. You've got to get them to understand that the internet has lots of useful information. It's a great tool and lots of entertainment, but it's scripted. And you never know. You may have a budding Steven Spielberg or somebody on your hands. You just don't know. Foster it. Use it, because you're not gonna beat it, clearly. So you can encourage it by making it tougher and making her have to go through more hoops, and just accept that that's what's going to happen, and it being a long-term good for her, because she's learning to program, she's learning how to get around these kinds of things, and that's a great skill to have in life. navigate through problems. And the second half is make sure she understands the context that the world she's living in. You know, she's gonna live in that world anyway, so she needs you there to set the guideposts. And those guideposts are very wide with her because she's too damn smart. So, yeah, there it is. You just have fun with it. That's it is dangerous, but she's smart. She'll get through it if you give her the right tools. She'll survive. She'll even thrive if you give her the right tools. So there you go. That's early though. Man,
Very impressive.
That's what I'm saying.
Why should I have to wear a bra in my house? Context. I'm 15, and when I don't wear a bra in the house, my mom always tells me to put one on. I asked her why, and she was like, your dad, blah, blah. Is that not weird? I have to worry about that?
Well, see, you're the mother. That's why I put this, because I can't really answer this question because I don't actually understand why you couldn't.
Well, I never said one way or the other to my girls. I grew up where if in a household of women, so if a man came around, you put a bra on, and my girls saw me do that.
So maybe it's just
and that's just what they do now. So and it's not your house, it's your parents' house.
So maybe it's just a thing. Maybe it's just a cultural thing. It's one of those things. I didn't have an answer to it. So, and I usually have answers to these kinds of things. I have no clue. Is it weird? I don't know if it's weird or not. I raised boys. It was never an issue with my daughter. So I don't know. I can't ever think of it really being an issue. It never came up.
No, it never came up for my girls either.
So I was hoping you had a good answer for that. It's follow your mom's culture while she's there, and it sucks.
When you get your own house, you can be Nikki all the time.
Yeah, when you're out and you're not around, you can do what you want. Maybe a sports bra is better. Maybe it's more comfortable for you. I don't know.
Oh, that's a good idea. Sorry about that. It wasn't very helpful, was it?
Oh, no, I just thought of it. I have no clue if it's helpful or not.
That's a great idea. Sports bra. There's some barely there bras, man.
So
Amazon.
And women don't like looking at other women's nipples. I suspect it's especially parents don't want to see their daughter's nipples, regardless. But I also don't ever remember it being a problem. So I don't know. And we had more than just, I don't ever remember being a problem ever. So I don't.
Yeah, we had several girls.
Yeah, I don't.
Come through here.
So I don't know. But maybe I just don't notice these kind of things because I just don't notice these kinds of things. So there is that.
It's California, dude. We're not that uptight.
Yeah. Anyway.
Maybe they're religious.
Maybe. Like I said, maybe it's a cultural thing. It's just, it's their family's always done. So that's what it's her mother did and her grandmother did. And so that's what she does. I don't know.
Talk to your mom.
Well, it probably won't go very well, but.
Probably won't go very well, but maybe you can get to the root of it and get some real answers.
Well, and there's a second part to that. Maybe the first couple conversations won't go very well. But the fifth or sixth one might start going a little better, especially if you approach it in a loving, caring way and don't yell and scream and get all really emotional. Just try and say, I'm just trying to understand. And leave it that way. Don't push it too hard each time, Push it as far as she'll let you, and you say, okay, walk away. And know you'll have another day to have a conversation. It's a lifelong relationship. You've got years, You still got 3 years. It's not going to be solved tomorrow, so maybe you can solve it next year. If you're slow and cautious and careful and loving. Okay.
My son referred to his stepfather as dad last night, and I wanted to cry. I told him I'm his daddy, and his stepfather is Matthew. Is this proper?
Your emotional response is proper. And I can't say whether you telling him that or not is proper. That's a difficult thing. But what you should probably focus on is the fact that you have two men who love your son, who he feels he can turn to. It's a blessing. Look at all those kids out there today that don't have it, don't have one. Sure, it's sad for you, but it's good for your son. Look at me, I'm all teary. I'm an emotional guy. But it's because I can feel it, but I feel it both ways. You know? So, is it proper? I don't think proper counts. You did the best you knew how. But I think you should reframe it for yourself and then for your son. That's what's best for him. He doesn't need to think about betraying you because he loves somebody else. He's got enough love for both of you. He really does. Okay. What's next?
My daughter has social anxiety and says she doesn't want an 18th birthday party in March. Her father and I want her to have a party. Should we plan a surprise one anyway?
No. Look, you can understand how on your 18th birthday, your parents and grandparents may want to have a moment to celebrate it. But she doesn't want a party, so don't have a party. Say, okay, a week later, a week before, have your family get together, blow out candles, have cake, sing happy birthday.
Give presents, there we go. Everybody's happy.
Yeah, you don't have a party. Don't have a full-blown party. Don't put up decorations because that's not what...
Just a cake, man.
Yep, just a cake and
ice cream.
And she'll eventually appreciate it. And don't do it on her birthday. And don't keep her out of it. Say, look, the family would love not to have a party, just to get together, sing you happy birthday, blow out candles on the cake. 15, 20 minutes, man. That's it. In and out. We'll get you in and out. So that's what I would do. And if she says she still doesn't want it, then she still doesn't want it. But my guess is she really does. She just doesn't want a big brouhaha.
Yeah.
So keep it small, keep it simple, respect her.
Something manageable for her.
Yeah. Yeah, and no on a surprise party because she's told you she doesn't want a party. And she doesn't want a party because of the anxiety it's causing her. And a surprise party is the exact opposite. Do something a week before, a week after, 10 days before, 10 days after, so it's not around the day she's feeling stressed about. If you have a normal family get-together, do it then. So it's not about her. So the focus isn't really on her. It's just something you're doing during that other thing. That's kind of where I would think, okay.
I'm 13 years old and I don't believe in my parents' church anymore. I told them this and they keep trying to convert me to their Mormon beliefs. My adult sister, who is an atheist, told me to just fake it till I'm an adult. What should I do?
Your sister probably is giving you good advice.
My friend, I feel you. I was raised in a very strict Southern Baptist house. Man, you just gotta survive until you're on your own. And then it was no holds barred. I'm free. And I've been doing what I want ever since.
Yeah, the question is, you've got a few years left. Do you want to live them in some kind of battle of things with your parents and this religion? Or you just want to, sometimes it's just best to go along to get along because you can see an exit door.
There is light at the end of the tunnel.
You've got an exit door. You can see the exit door. You even know when it is. You've even got an older sibling to tell you, that's fine. Just get to the end of the door. So trust your sibling. Trust your elder sibling. This is one of these times when you just trust your elder sibling. Just fake it till you get through. Just fake it till you get through. And I know I'm not going to tell people to fake it till you get through, but there's some battles, which is this really a hill you want to die on? Is this really a fight you want to take? Because it's not going to stop. So don't fight. That's what I would do. Because you're just marking time. It's getting through. You'll be all right.
And bless their hearts, I had some lovely Christians in my life, and although my uncle was a missionary, he tried to save me too. And I understood then that's part of their religion. They were doing it out of love.
Yeah.
They were concerned for my soul. They knew I was a sinner.
Yeah, it's not that they're not doing it because they hate you or they don't like you, but it's because that's what they genuinely believe, and you'll pass your beliefs on to your children, regardless of whatever they happen to be, whatever you end up making them. And your children will reject some and accept some others, and pass those on to their children, and their children will accept some and reject some others. That's
how it rolls.
How the world works. So you'll be fine. You're just experiencing things that everybody else does. Or you could do what Christina did, join the military at 17 and get the heck on out. I think
I was gone.
There's that option. You can get out a little early. Okay. So what's next?
All I'm getting for Christmas is a dinner and a tea. That's all my family is getting me. All my friends are getting loads of expensive gifts. How did I tell them I expect a lot more than that?
Well, my question is,
dear.
Why are you expecting more? How many more do we have?
It's 9:31 and we have 3 more.
Okay. The question is, why are you expecting more? No one has to give you a Christmas gift. And maybe that's all they have. And I know, so this one's old and Christmas has already passed. And essentially, if you're doing second Christmases, this is your second Christmas time. But the question here is expectations. You have a much better Christmas if you don't expect anything and then are just happy with what you get.
Very true.
And if you give without expecting anything in return, and you accept the warmth that you get from giving. Because the minute you start expecting anywhere in that's when Christmas loses its spirit. Like Christmas is in the lack of expectations. The giving without expectation. Receiving without the feeling the need to retaliate's the wrong word, but it's the word that comes to mind. Reciprocate. Many do if they can, but not all can. And it's okay, because it's freaking Christmas. Maybe there's a reason they don't want to give more to you. If you're expecting things, people are less likely to want to give you things. Okay, we got 3 more, so let's see if we can get through these.
I have MRKH, born with a womb but normal functioning ovaries. When I asked my husband about surrogacy, he said that it is my problem and I should pay for it. I feel hurt. We both earn about the same. What should I do?
Well, we can't tell you what to do. And you have every feeling hurt is way understandable, because that is a way inappropriate response. So the question is, why did they get that response? And I can't answer that. I don't know. Because it's a response that doesn't make sense. So I don't know if your marriage and you're having relationship problems and he just doesn't want a child, and so that's his way of not wanting a child, because he's immature and doesn't want one, or whatever it is, or if he just doesn't want the responsibility, or if he'd accepted the fact that you weren't going to have a child. Maybe that was part of the reason. And now all of a sudden, for him, the relationship rules have changed. And it wasn't what he wanted. And so rather than being able to express that in a healthy way and say, one of the things that made this relationship comfortable for me is because I didn't want kids, and I didn't have to worry about that. And now that's changed, and I'm unsettled. And it's going to take me some time to figure out, where I'm at with this, which is a difficult conversation to have, right? And especially if you're not, connected with yourself. And it can come out sideways, or you could just be a bastard, someone you should just divorce now and walk away from. I don't know. It can really land anywhere in between there. But the way your relationship is now, it's not going to function. So you're probably best off not being able to have that child until you can find a partner who's a partner, or get this partner on board. I don't know what the problem is. It may just be something he can get used to, because he was just, you're asking something, his landscape is totally changed. This ground he was operating on is now completely shifted. Right? You thought you were walking on concrete, and all of a sudden you're walking in quicksand. You have bad reactions to that, right? Or maybe he's just a dick. I can't make that judgment. I don't know. It's not an appropriate response, though.
No, it's not.
Regardless of the reason, it's not an appropriate response. But there may be an underlying reason for it. Or not. And there's just such a wide range of things. You have to make that difficult judgment on your own. Instinct tells me that you're better off without him, but it's my instinct on this one, and I rarely do that. But I like to see the best in ones, but that is just such an off-the-wall response that it's got to be either a strong reaction to something that he was completely accepted and settled with not having kids, not wanting them, not being okay, and all of a sudden you kind of smash him with this, I want to have a surrogate thing, and just doesn't know what to do with it. And
yeah, maybe that gets him off the hook, but he better come back and apologize.
Yeah, that's, it's still not an acceptable response, but it's actually understandable from that. You can kind of understand it, especially if they're not all that well connected with themselves, right?
Yes, yeah. I'm thinking they're not that old.
Yeah, so there's issues there, or they could just be a narcissistic asshole, and and you're better off ending your relationship and finding someone who's going to be more supportive of you in general. Because if that's as supportive of going to be you, if that's as supportive as he can be, then that's not supportive.
No, I would have a second thought about having a child with this person.
Yeah. Okay. So especially a surrogate child, where it gets all weird. So you have to have someone who's really stable with themselves, and so you've got a long way to go, one way or the other. And I feel for you. Okay. Well, we got two more.
This man who suffers from bipolar disorder opens up to me a lot in his life, childhood and vulnerabilities, etc. Does this mean that he can trust me and I have importance to him? Yes, you are of big importance to him. Obviously, you're a good listener. You give good feedback. He probably looks forward to seeing you. He considers you a friend.
Yeah, you're not judgmental. I mean, you listen. Now, is there a small chance that this is someone who's just has nobody else, and because you'll listen, he's essentially kind of using you? It's possible. But, even if so what? You're helping someone get through a day. So when bipolar is a difficult thing, and it comes with a lot of trauma in life, right? And so just having to experience it and deal with it and go clean up the messes from yourself is difficult. If I can, kind of relay listening to your experiences. So if I'm speaking out of turn, please, because you're the
No.
Okay. So if you're giving someone any form of comfort, you're doing a good thing. How important are you? It's hard to say, and it doesn't matter. You're of some importance. You help him through a day. Maybe he can't get through a day without being, without having a friendly person to talk to. Maybe you just help him get through the day. If that's all you do, get through the day without having a bounce, you've done a wonderful service. So, just keep being you. You're fine. Don't think about it too much is what actually the one thing I would say is just be you. Don't think about it too much.
Okay, I love this last one. I have 2 employees who usually leave work at 6 p.m. each day. They are good employees, but I do not like that their commitment only lasts for working hours. What should I do as the boss?
Well, you have to ask yourself a question. Why would you expect them to have more loyalty to you than you have to them? Why would you expect them to care about your business in their off hours when you don't care about their off hours? This is a relationship. It's a two-way relationship. It's not just one. It's not just I give them money, therefore they should care about the business. That's not how life works. Dirty little secret, if they love their job, they will take less money. They will turn down better offers because they like working there. If they don't like working there, they're going to always be looking for an off-ramp. If you want loyalty, you have to give loyalty. There's a saying, I've been watching some leadership things again, and there's Marines have this thing. No one tells them to do it. It just happens naturally. Is that the lowest member eats first, and the highest member eats last. Go to any Marine base in the world. That's what will happen at chow time. Leaders eat last. And that's how they get people who will follow you. And the interesting thing is, if they run out of food, the leader won't go hungry. The men will take care of him. They'll gather a little bit of food from everybody and make sure he eats. Because the leader made sure they ate. And that's how it works. It becomes a mutually beneficial relationship. And if you want that type of loyalty, you have to give it and not expect it in return. That's the difficult part. That's the part that you have to understand that in order to get it, you have to not expect it. And it will come. Because we're all human. We go where people are supportive. We go where people love us. We go where we are wanted. We go where we are needed. We go where we feel that we can have, impact. Positive impact. Oh, sure. Negativity can get you motivated, but it also makes you stressed and unhealthy. Long term, those who move forward with a positive mindset, a positive framework, surround themselves with positive people, and they do wonderful things. That's what happens. So anyway, thank you for joining us. Me and Lubby want to thank you. Tuesday night, we have I think I just saw an email come by. Max is back on Tuesday night. We're going to have to talk with Max as we round out the Mental Health Awareness Month. I want to thank you for joining us. And for me and Lovey, please remember to love everybody.
Good night.
Welcome, our fellow lovers of love, and thank you for joining us on yet another excursion through the stream of consciousness, down the river of tranquility, to fill the lake of life with love.